Alright guys, welcome back. It's me, Daniel, with VintageMagic.com. I'm in sunny Houston, Texas. I am completing a very large deal where I'm basically dropping off this PSA 10 card grade and auto grade Alpha Black Lotus, signed by Christopher Rush. This card sold for $435,000 US realized sale. I'll explain kind of how that worked out. Really great story on this one, and I'm also dropping off these other 3 signed cards. These cards were purchased from the collector, which I actually featured in my $1 million Magic card collection video. It's a professionally done video by my friend Sam Tang. I'll put the link of that video in the description below. And yeah, so this client in that video, you'll see that the Alpha Black Lotus was actually a BGS 9.5 Quad Plus. And this client really, I'm saying really a bunch of times, wanted a signed Alpha Lotus. As you notice in that video, in the link below, there is predominantly signed cards, and this client really wants to upgrade all of the cards eventually to signed cards. So obviously the Alpha Lotus being the most valuable card, where BGS 9.5 basic subgrade Alpha Lotus sold for $166,000 on auction recently. This particular card realized for $435,000. What I mean by that is the client basically offered me cash plus trade. Well, cash as in wire transfer, but basically wire transfer and then the Quad Plus Alpha Lotus you saw in that video. And some people will be like, well, that's dumb because this card is signed and it's it's now ruined. No. A lot of people out there, like I've said in my other videos, really appreciate signed cards, and this card is one of 2 in the world. The signature itself by Christopher Rush is actually a vintage 1993 era type of an older signature, because he does not sign that way in the modern times when he was alive. He generally signed on the bottom right here in a very large signature, and it's a lot less compressed. So this one is exceptionally beautiful because it's not only a gem mint in terms of card, but the autograph. But yeah, some people really think signed cards are not really worth getting, but this collector really wanted the card, and I made it happen. So story goes, I flew to, if you guys saw my videos, I went to Australia to pick this card up, all the way to Melbourne, Australia, and the financial capital of Australia. And it was a very long trip, and I basically then picked up that card to then now drop it off to the client now here in Houston. The client's actually from overseas, but visiting from out of the country, and it's really cool because I wanted to do a follow-up, because getting more of these cards in the collection that the guy needed was really exciting. For example, I'm also have a signed Alpha Lotus or Alpha Time Twister by Mark Tadine, BGS 9.5 with the 10 autograph and with the 10 surface. Almost a quad. I think the edges are actually really clean. It's just that on the bottom edge there, there's that extra paper right there, and that comes a lot from the cards in Alpha, especially the Time Twister. Sorry, there's a lot of noise because I'm on top of a pool, guys. Take a look. Here's the pool. I'm gonna go swimming here with the cards in a second. Yeah, so this card is on upgrade because if you look at that video, $1 million video, this is a basic 9.5 Alpha Time Twister, and this one now upgrades that card. Next, we have the Alpha Ancestral Recall, graded BGS 9.5, and with an older 9 out of 10 autograph by Mark Poole signature. Honestly, the signature is just fine. I don't know why they give it a 9. It's probably because the E disconnected right there, but this is an older vintage 1993 era signature, maybe even 94, but really old signature because of the fact that Poole does not sign like that ever again. Mark is still alive, and this signature, usually a signature, is this big monstrosity right here, and it's very, very less simplistic. In many ways, I find this signature to be very ideal. Doesn't take away from the card and doesn't distract, and it's very elegant. Even though the E is probably not perfectly connected, it's still a very nice example. And the subgrades are exceptional. It's a quad plus a 9.5, which basically means there's a 10 centering, 3 9.5. So anytime there's all 9.5s and also a 10, it's called a quad plus in Beckett, which gives an exceptional pedigree. This card is, let's put it this way. These cards all sold for top tier prices. I'm not going to reveal the prices of the sales, but let's put it this way. They're beyond the price of what you find in the marketplace on eBay auctions or private sales, because of the fact that these cards were much more difficult to source, required some extra steps. And if you guys are ever looking for trades, upgrades, stuff like that, I am your contact for older Magic the Gathering rarities. I've done this for a very long time, and I basically travel all over the world doing a white glove delivery of these type of cards. All right, next we have actually a very, very rare card. I believe this is the only one in the world signed and graded officially by Beckett. A signed Beta Time Walk by Amy Weber, using kind of a goldish pen. It's a little smeared. You notice that smearing from probably, gold pens are very hard to maintain in quality because you have to let it dry. And if you have a gold pen signature, you got to let it dry for an exceptionally long time, and you have to make sure you don't touch it. So there's a lot of factors, because some people like to have the card to play with instantly. They get all crazy and then it just smears. So this card did get a 7 out of 10 signature, which I think is deserving. Maybe an 8 would have been fine, because it didn't really ruin the integrity of the signature, because from a registration standpoint, I think it looks great. I don't know what the graders were looking at there, but I think overall it looks pretty good. So I think that's an 8 out of 10, to be honest. But nevertheless, I don't work at Beckett. This card did get exceptional subgrades, which is not a quad, but it's a basic plus plus, which basically means it has plus plus is the 210s, it's 210 subgrades, and it's a basic because it's not a quad, because the edges are 9 still. If this was indeed a quad plus plus, it would be a 9.5 edges. It's a very nice pack fresh card. I got it through a trade, and it was very hard to source this type of card, because it was the only one of its kind, I believe, in the world, in the Beckett population right now. And today is March 17th, 2019. So that may change, but Amy Weber cards are exceptionally difficult, because think about it this way. She doesn't do any shows for Magic the Gathering. She's not affiliated with Magic. I think she does some signing stuff, but think about it this way. When are you going to send in your Beta or Alpha Time Walk or Unlimited Time Walks to Amy? She lives a very, very far rural area, and it's very risky to send expensive items in the mail, right? Because you never know what happens in the mail, shipping, etc. It's always better to meet them at a show to get it signed, but it's really hard to find extremely high quality examples of this, because of the fact that getting her to sign it and risking the mail system and such is very difficult. So there's a lot of factors that are involved when you sign cards, and this is probably going to be one of the more difficult ones to achieve. So let's analyze the PSA 10 Alpha Lotus for the remainder of the video. It sold for $435,000 realized. So again, this was traded to me. I'm sorry. I was traded a BGS 9.5 Alpha Quad Plus, which is on that $1 million video, and a wire transfer. And basically the Quad Plus Alpha Lotus sold for $275,000, and then the wire transfer you can do the math on. And people, you know, I'll give you a story on this, because I had obviously picked this up in Australia. It's traveled with me with the WAS deal. I had gave this to the PSA guys. Originally, if you guys saw the card, it did not have the auto grade, and PSA actually were kind enough to give me an auto grade on this card, and deservingly it is a 10. It's exceptional, a stunning registration. I have to be honest, I graded so many Alpha Lotus cards. This is one of the more beautiful registration cards, and what I mean by that is if you look at the eye appeal and the look and the colors, they're absolutely exceptional. Absolutely exceptional. I mean, there is no I'm not saying it's like, you know, by no means is it a pristine Alpha Lotus, but it definitely deserves the gem mint mark, and just a beautiful, beautiful look. The colors are exceptional. I think the centering on this one is exceptionally nice too, which also I think brings out the registration. You know, something I like about Alpha a lot is the brown border colors. They tend to be lighter than the betas, and also there's a variation in color in some cases that comes out with particularly the grays. I really like, I'm not saying that it's always different, but this particular one, I really like the Black Lotus print. Look how deep and gray that is. Look at that. It's so beautiful. Like, and you know, I'm one of those guys who has studied this card a lot, and this particular one, it's almost as if this was printed as one of the first ones ever printed, or the early runs. I say that because there's a lot of cards out there that have actually been in the Alpha run that actually were in different phases of the run. For example, the Alpha Sapphire actually has like a print dot right here and right here. And depending on when you got the card, the lighter the print dot. And I do have what I know as the only non-print dot at the highest grade. So I think there might be another one at a played condition or something, but nevertheless, print dots and registration and color, they're really factor in this eye appeal factor, and it has to do with the fact that the cards come from a different run, a different period of the run, and if it's early in the run, it generally has the ink might be stronger. You know, the cuts of the cards, like for example that Alpha Time Twister, for example, has additional paper right here. You can kind of see a flaring of the paper. Do you see that? There you go. See that, guys? So that is extra paper that does occur, and sometimes it even happens on the top, which this does not have it. So the beta Time Twisters actually have a similar paper issue too. So if you think about and study these cards like I have, this particular example of the Alpha Lotus just has incredible, a beautiful gray tone to it. I really appreciate that. And the back is immaculate, extremely clean. I gotta say, if I was being ultra critical of this card, the very top has a couple of, and they're not chipping marks. They're just the way they were cut from the factory on the very top, but they're actually like on top of the card. So they're more, if you flatten it out like this, that's the flat view, you don't really see it as much. So it tells me that it definitely is it wasn't really handled. It was just chipped because of the factory, the way it's cut. And especially like if you look at from a little bit further view like that, guys, it's just absolutely stunning. All right, guys, well, I really appreciate your guys' time. Again, you know, I haven't really been able to talk about this card and the sale because I wanted to complete it and get it done and deliver it, obviously, to the client. This is an awesome historic sale. I believe it's currently the highest modern day sale for a PSA card. I'm not sure about Beckett's standards, but LeBron James, there was a LeBron James PSA 9 NBA patch with the NBA logo rookie card. I think it sold for an auction, $312,000 realized with buyer's premium. And then there was recently an authentic graded PSA graded Michael Jordan, a 1997 Fleer Metal Gems, but it was within the first 10 cards, and that gives it the green look, not the red look, which is the rarest one. It's the first of its kind, the inserts. So that makes this card the most valuable one in modern day history that I know of. Now, I do think there's like a Derek Jeter PSA 10 that sold for about $99,000 on PWCC, so that's an iconic baseball card, modern day. And when I talk about modern day sale, I'm referring to 1980 and present. Pokemon, for example, Pokemon also had a BGS 10, Charizard, holofoil. It's the famous version of that card, sold pristine for $55,000 on PWCC, I think last year or something. I think there's like 3 of those or something in the world, and I believe there's a couple PSA 10s or something like that. So that one, you know, has hovered around the 50 to 60K mark, maybe private sale exchange for a little bit more, but the Alpha Lotus definitely has reached the pinnacle of all modern day cards. So it actually trumps all non-sport cards and also sports cards that I know of. So yeah, I hope you guys really enjoyed the video. I wanted to give you a lot of insight on what I look for in the cards, to show you some of the beautiful just close-ups of the card before I deliver it here in the next hour or so to the client. I know the client is ecstatic about the card, loving the PSA grade. Really appreciates the PSA grade and the holdering. By the way, PSA has improved their holdering over the years. This is a little bit thicker now, and it's more staggered, so it actually allows you to stack. The stackability is very clean. Also, the shakes in the card is not. People complain about the shaking, but there isn't as much. I think, you know, they've probably improved the quality of the case over the years, but it's never really damaged the card at all. It's just more gives the card room to breathe, and it's a very a nice, clean presentation. I've always appreciated the PSA presentation, and they also put this little new hologram thing. That's kind of cool for their presentation. All right, guys. Well, thanks again for watching. I will put on the bottom below the link of the $1 Million collection, which talks more about the originally. That was the first video that has the Quad Plus Alpha Lotus, and I was traded for this one. And then some of the other pieces now the collector will get would be these other 4. And this also now makes the collector pretty close to a set. You will need a signed Beta Emerald, a signed Beta Sapphire, and a signed Alpha Time Walk to complete all 9 cards for Beta and Alpha in Power 9. So if you guys have those cards in 9.5 at all, please let me know, or PSA 10, doesn't matter. I'm interested in connecting with you guys and purchasing those, or even raw cards are fine. Just kind of, I like to get the collector's dream involved to get it all completed. You know, the collector really appreciates signed cards. I think there's an amazing collectible market for signed Magic the Gathering cards and collectible cards in general. Is it like a Ferrari or something in the background? Anyway, there's a huge market for that, So if you guys have any leads or any cards, just find me at vintagemagic.com or send me an email at daniel@vintagemagic.com. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Again, I really appreciate you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video of these awesome cards. I'm dropping off here literally in about an hour. And yeah, happy collecting. And always enjoy the journey, guys. It's never about the destination. And for me, I really enjoyed it. I went to Australia for this card, the Lotus that is, and now it's coming back to its now owner. That's awesome. See you guys later.